Hello everyone, it's your NASCAR boy Solomon Masholi, and today I'm going to be talking about this year's Daytona 500. I'm just going to be recapping just like a handful of moments and what's my opinion about this year's race. Green flag waved, Alex Bowman started on the pole, Larson right beside him, both Hendrick cars, and and the two Hendrick drivers led quite a handful of laps, and then Bell was able to get to the outside of Alex Bowman, and he was able to use him to take the lead around lap 12. Around 40 laps later, we had a little crash. Not too much of a crash. Martin Truex Jr. and Bubba Wallace, two manufacturer teammates, were in the same line. Truex tried to give him a little bump draft, and then Bubba Wallace got loose and then ran into the wall a bit, and so that forced him to go into pit road. But they were able to stay green, and coming around the end of stage one, Brad Keselowski, co-owner of Roush Funway Keselowski Racing, was able to steal stage one. Ryan Preece was able to finish up in second, and Chris Buescher, Brad Keselowski's teammate, in third. So, stage two went underway. And a couple laps later, the high side was trying to get to the leader. So Kevin Harvick was trying to push Tyler Reddick, gave him a little bit of room because if you bump draft on super speedways, you're most likely going to wreck somebody, or you're going to wreck yourself, or maybe both. So he gave him a little gap. Then he came back to him, and then that caused the first crash of the day. Tyler Reddick was involved in it. Ryan Blaney was involved in it. And quite a lot of favorites ran in. Eric Jones, Chase Elliott, quite some favorites. And Larson somehow survived it. He slid through the grass, and nothing happened. He was able to continue on. So back to the green flag they went. Logano was leading the field. On the final lap of stage two, Chastain was able to get around Logano, take the lead on the inside. Logano right behind him, pushing, and Truex, who thought that this year would be his year. I mean, like, remember that finish at 2016? I mean, like, does anybody remember that? And then you had Alex Bowman and Ricky Stenhouse on the outside. Coming up to turn three, it was quite wheel to wheel. 48 and 47 trying to work together, same with the 1 and 22. And on the final stretch of stage two, Alex Bowman found momentum. He was able to get half a car length to the lead, but at the end, Chastain found the opportunity. Alex Bowman lost a little bit of drafting help, and Chastain was able to pull in front of the 48 just before the end of stage two, which makes Chastain first, Alex Bowman second, and Joey Logano third. So now, the beginning of stage three, and this stage was it was very clean. Like, nothing bad happened. There were lots of tight racing. And while I was there, I'm like, something tells me something bad is about to happen around lap 20. And then we had the big one. The first big one. Yes, I'll say it again, the first big one of the day. The cars got stacked up on turn one, which caused the big one. Michael McDowell was in it. Truex was in it as well. Man, I still can't get over that, of him getting wrecked out of the race. Eric Almirola was also involved in it. Ryan Preece was in it. Some people picked him to be the winner. Kevin Harvick, in his final season, he got in it as well. And if you look on your screen, you could see that Ty Gibbs was involved in it too. He didn't get much damage from it. He just hit the brakes in time, and he was able to walk through it. So during the green flag, Joey Logano and Harrison Burton started on the front row, and entering turn three, Harrison Burton lost a little bit of drafting help from behind, which gave Joey Logano the advantage. And at the end of turn four, Harrison Burton was able to get some drafting help, and William Byron, right behind Joey Logano, had some room to make a move. He did not try to make a move on the tri-oval. And then Harrison Burton started to come up. William Byron tried to block, but he was a bit late. Harrison Burton just did it in time, and he was able to make it 3 wide with no chaos or something like that. But not too long after that, on the exit of turn 2, if you would look on your screen right here, you would see that AJ Allmendinger was somehow able to sneak under Joey Logano to take the lead away from him, which forced Joey Logano to be out of the draft until he was able to get some help behind him. And AJ Allmendinger, followed by Kyle Larson, was able to lead the race with 13 to go. And during on the outside, when Joey Logano was trying to get help from behind, Harrison Burton and Joey Logano made a little contact. Joey Logano got loose, but somehow able to save his car. We were able to stay green. And now here you go, 10 laps to go in the race. The RFK drivers were able to get into the lead, entering the 10 lap to go marker. And frankly, they were able to control the race. And then on the backstretch to 4 laps to go, Kyle Busch, with a new team this year, snuck to the outside of Chris Buescher, who was helping Brad Keselowski, and he had some help with Austin Dillon, his teammate, with William Byron right behind him, and they were able to pull away to the lead. And not too long after that, or should I say, just before not too long after that, you would see more cars coming up right behind those 3 cars. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Joey Logano back in the mix, Austin Cindric, 2022 Daytona 500 winner, and then Christopher Bell. And then here you go, 3 laps to go. Now you know that things are seriously going to heat up. So if you would look on your screen, Joey Logano was able to sneak under Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for 4th place, entering the 3 lap to go marker, entering turn 1. And here it is, 2.5 laps to go. You got the Richard Childress cars leading the race. And here it is, Kyle Busch in his career, never won a Daytona 500 before. And here it is, an opportunity for him to get his first Daytona 500 win. But at the end of turn 4, this happened.
At the white flag, because if that caution comes out, you're done. The race is over. There's a
Suarez around off turn 4, caution wave.
Daniel Suarez tried to block Jimmy Johnson. Oh my gosh, I actually forgot to mention that Jimmy Johnson was able to qualify for this year's Daytona 500, and he was quite in the mix. He was quite in the mix most of the time. So then, 2 to go in the Daytona 500. Coming up to the green flag, Kyle Busch decided to go to the outside, but then Austin Dillon decided to go to the inside. But yes, 2 to go, both Richard Childress cars leading the field. So they went to the green flag. Kyle Busch had a good jump with help from the 22 car and was able to get down to the 3 car. So the 3 car can, bump trap him. But Logano said, not if I had anything to say about it. So Logano was able to get to the outside of Kyle Busch. With help from Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Joey Logano was able to pull to the lead. And then, not too long after that, big one number 2 showed up. Austin Dillon and William Byron got a little tangled up there trying to bump draft each other, which got them loose, and then they were able to collect more cars. Ty Dillon was in the mess. Riley Herbst was in it, and Jimmy Johnson, 7-time champ, 2-time Daytona 500 winner, in his return to the NASCAR Cup Series for this year's Daytona 500, was in the mess as well. Quite a lot of good cars were in it. Even Austin Cindric, the defending Daytona 500 champion, was in it. The Hail Mail-In Man, which I would like to call him, was in it. Harrison Burton was also involved. And Zane Smith, defending Truck Series champion, who won the truck race this year at Daytona. Quite a lot of good cars were in it. So the drivers were going to overtime, which is another 2 laps. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was able to pull into the lead this time. Kyle Larson right next to him. Joey Logano behind Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And did I forget to mention that Joey Logano was the 2015 Daytona 500 champion. And then we had Christopher Bell working with Kyle Larson. So pretty much from the beginning of the green flag to turn 2, it was quite of a dogfight between those 4 guys. I mean, like, they were just bumper to bumper, wheel to wheel. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to get tight, isn't it? And if you're going to look on your screen right here, you can see Kyle Busch and Alex Bowman working together, and they were able to catch up to the leaders. They decided to draft the outside, so Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had momentum with Joe Logano, and then Kyle Busch and Alex Bowman lost the speed they had, which gave hope to Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell. They were able to get back in the mix. And then Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was able to block the 5 car and was able to hold on to the lead. And then here we go, the final lap of the Daytona 500. But coming up to the last lap, you can see that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was too far out to the lead. So Joe Logano and Kyle Busch were able to bump draft themselves to the lead. So Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had no choice but to try to block the 5 car. And then when Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was trying to achieve that, Larson went psych. Not too long after that, you could see that Joe Logano had the lead, and then Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was able to fight back, get the lead back, and then Eric Almirola and Travis Pastrana wreck, which caused the caution to come out on the last lap. And then NASCAR ruled that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is this year's Daytona 500 winner. And I mean, think of it. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And I mean, he has won super speedways before, but that was with Roush Funway Keselowski during 2017. Well, back then in 2017, it was called Roush Funway Racing. This year, he was driving for JTG, which is not much of a winning team. And here it is, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. just punched that team's ticket to the playoffs. I'm like, wow, that's a big gift right there. Now, would I think that this was a good race? I mean, this is my opinion. This wasn't the best, but it's there. It's there. Like I would say top 12, I would say. I had a good time there, and actually I forgot to mention that I met a NASCAR YouTuber there. No, it's not Eric Estep. It's not TNT Man 93. It's not MF17. No, but this YouTube is quite legendary either way. I was able to meet Real Radman, the man himself. I'm like, it looks the same face. He's wearing a soccer t-shirt. So, and I mean, like, in some of his videos, you would see him wearing a soccer t-shirt. I'm like, that has got to be him. So I went over to ask him, and I went like, hey, sir, are you this one YouTuber named Real Radman? And he said, yes. And he said, yes. And I'm like, nice to meet you. I'm Salman Sholi. I'm a fan of yours. So we were able to take a picture, and yeah, it was quite a blessing from God, I would say. So there you have it. My recap of this year's Daytona 500. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you very soon.